Hello everyone, Simon Bart here, and welcome to another My Top 10 list. Well, I've gone over my least favorite movies of 2017, and now it's time to look at the ones that I like. And yes, the same rules I mentioned before of this being my list and my thoughts still apply here. And certain movies you might be thinking won't appear here too, since I haven't seen them. And I've gone over some of them on other videos before. So, let's get to it with my top 10 list of my top 10 favorite 2017 movies. Number 10. The Mummy. Yeah, I know it flopped, and I understand why people would dislike it, but I really didn't care, because I had a fun time watching it. It's an enjoyable film with nice characters, fun effects, and a fun story, mixing elements of not just the classic Universal monsters, but also of An American Werewolf in London, the Brendan Fraser version, and, from my perspective in a few areas, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Yes, there's a lot to take in with this wanting to begin a universe of monster movie remakes given the Marvel-style treatment, but if it's only going to be a standalone movie, and it looks like it will, I simply have no problem with that. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is a fun movie that I liked all the way through. Number 9. Jigsaw. Now I myself enjoyed the Saw movies, even though I only watched the first 3. But with this one, it works as both a reboot and a sequel. And for being part of one of the most well-known horror franchises, it's actually not really that bad. I mean, sure, it repeats a similar formula like the other films, but the twist ending and the various traps and deaths are quite fun and enjoyable, even when being pretty gruesome. There is, of course, the iconic puppet and Tobin Bell returning to his most famous role, as well as plenty of surprises thrown in, and despite a complex mystery trying to be simplified at best, it works for what it offers, and is a gory, well-made film. Nothing too bad about it, but it's all fair and good. Number 8. Despicable Me 3. In most respects, I would consider this one to be better than the previous 2 films, as it has a more focused main story and a much better villain too. But at the same time, I felt that I liked the second one for all its craziness and whatnot. Because the third film has more side stories and some moments do feel a bit off with how they're timed and such. Yet there's also some fun action going on, a few good funny moments, and of course, a better told story than the second film and a better villain, really surrounding himself with lots of 80s nostalgia. It's a very fine sequel of expanding the characters and having a nice story and well done animation, again better than the last 2 films, and is enjoyable for what it is. Number 7. Daddy's Home 2. Now from what I thought with the first film, it was kind of lame, with unfunny jokes, an embarrassing setup, and weak stabs at cliches, but has the star power of Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. The sequel, however, is a lot funnier, as Ferrell and Wahlberg's own fathers, played by John Lithgow and Mel Gibson, come to spend Christmas with them and the family, only to make things worse for each other as they all go to a cabin for the holidays. And yeah, the ending is pretty similar to the first film, but all the verbal and visual gags are amazing and pretty funny. I laughed so much in the theater that I felt really good inside afterwards, and maybe next Christmas I would check it out again. This is the funniest holiday film since National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and I found it to be the next best comedy for the season. Number 6. It. This is certainly interesting to talk about, as it was a scary good film when I first saw it. But I have to admit, the more I watch it, the less scary it became. Yet it's still effective for its effects, story, and characters. And easily the best thing about this movie is Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. His performance is really good, and definitely made a chilling impact in Tim Curry's take on it, as well as made me think twice about his first look, which seemed childlike when I saw it. Granted, I could have used more development on the main kid characters, but spoilers, this is only part 1, and hopefully there's more to them than what is here. But what is here are plenty of amazing moments to enjoy and one great clown to marvel at. And this is pretty much better than the 1990 miniseries, whether it's scary or not. Number 5. Justice League. Even though I found Wonder Woman to be sort of meh and not much, I really did find DC's next film to really have a lot, and is definitely better than Batman v Superman. There are some humorous moments and a fair amount of development for characters like Aquaman, The Flash, and Cyborg. But the movie's action sequences and Danny Elfman's music, which also has his Batman theme from the 1989 film, are some of its big highlights. It is so good to see these DC characters in one movie, and where the Avengers handled this kind of setup a little better, this one handles it pretty well. I look forward to more DC movies after this one, as it ranks up with the likes of the Tim Burton Batman movies. All in all, it's a pretty enjoyable and fun film. Number 4. Beauty and the Beast. It's no surprise that this one would be on the list, as I originally thought this was my favorite movie of the year until Mohr came along. But as a live-action remake of a classic Disney animated film, it's definitely a marvelous and fantastic movie, filled with good characters, a nicely done story, enjoyable effects, and the most amazing recreations of the original songs, plus a couple of new ones. And yeah, the original is still beloved, and this one doesn't top it, but it really shouldn't. There are things in this version that were handled better than in the original, like the Beast's character, but there's also a couple of things that weren't handled better, like Gaston's moments. Yet, as is, it's still a wonderful movie to watch, and a highly entertaining one too. Number 3. Ferdinand. Well, it seems Blue Sky Studios has done another really good adaptation of a classic story. And even though it would fall in between the Peanuts movie and Horton Hears a Who for favorite films from them, it's pretty much a wondrous movie of the gentle giant of a bull refusing to fight, with some heartwarming moments, funny moments, and plenty of high energy in its animation. All the characters are really fun, certain changes from the original story do fit well with the context of the film, and its ending is pretty different from both the original story and the Disney short film that it almost made me teary-eyed. And as adaptations of classic characters go, this one's hugely entertaining and a fun, energized film to witness. Number 2. Coco. As much as I disliked Cars 3, I myself wasn't looking forward to Pixar's next film after seeing their last one. But thankfully, not only was this one way more better than Cars 3, but it's one of the best Pixar has made. I really understand more about the Day of the Dead from this film than I did with The Book of Life, and it's all thanks to the film's message of family and cherishing those who pass on. Throw in great animation, fun characters, and nice songs, both original and classic, and you have a film that I wasn't expecting much at first, and completely won me over with fun moment after fun moment, and surprises happening in many areas. And overall, it's a wonderfully told movie that's really great and entertaining from start to finish, and had me feeling awestruck as well. And my number 1 favorite 2017 movie is... Oh wait, I forgot to mention my runners-up. Kidnap. A very simple story where Halle Berry tries to rescue her kidnapped son, and has plenty of good action and car chases. It's very underrated, and I'm not so sure why no one discusses it. Wish Upon. A decent enough horror film where a wish on an ancient music box will kill a family member or friend as a price. And the death scenes are well handled with good build-up and payoff. Murder on the Orient Express. Despite the mystery being a bit complex, it makes up with the cinematography, all-star cast, and left me feeling intrigued with its final sum-up. The Dark Tower. Complicated and cliché at times, but it's worth watching for its well-paced action, fine visuals, and nice acting. Nothing really terrible about it. Kong Skull Island. A fine ride from A to B with enjoyable effects and fine characters. That's better than Peter Jackson's remake, yet doesn't top the original. The Boss Baby. Even though a couple of things don't work, it's still a funny and pretty enjoyable movie that has plenty of amazing and good moments that does rank alongside Storks. Okay, let's finish this up now. My number 1 favorite movie of 2017 is... On second thought, this movie was so good and well worth the wait for, that deserves its own review. Yeah, so, tune in next week as I go over what I consider my favorite movie of 2017, and I can't wait to discuss this. Okay, for those of you who are new to this video and my channel, it's